Norway, 2003, 2 Brits and 2 Swedes. Ed and I headed off from Harwich in England, across the North Sea to Esbjerg in Denmark, across Denmark, across the Öresund Bridge into Sweden, heading north up towards Stockholm and Hallstahammar to meet Pierre and Keijo. The four of us then headed north up the Baltic coast, the high coast region of Sweden, into Finland, Lapland, Norway, crossed the Arctic Circle up to Northcape, then headed back south down the Norwegian coast onto the Lofoten Islands, ferry back to the mainland, heading south back down towards Bergen and route back to the UK, which was a ferry from Bergen to Newcastle, then heading south back down towards Robertsbridge and home. All in all, a 3-week round trip. Ahead of our trip to Norway and Northcape this summer, I thought I'd share a few photographs of our first trip there, 20 years ago, in the summer of 2003. Pre-satnav days and no GoPros, of course. Ed and I left England from Harwich, bound for Esbjerg in Denmark. This is when Scandinavian Seaways were still operating a crossing on that route, unfortunately, which has stopped. A right old mix of bikes between us. Ed was taking his Kawasaki Zephyr, Pierre on his Honda Goldwing, Keijo on a Suzuki GS1000, and I took my Harley Davidson nightrain. So a right old mix of bikes, not your typical adventure bikes. Beautiful scenery, lakes, fjords, mountains, blue skies, glaciers, ideal conditions. Summer of 2003 was a really hot one from memory. Here we are camped up for the first night in Sweden, en route to Stockholm and Pierre's hometown of Hallstahammar. Had one night here, bit of rain in the night from memory, then headed further north to meet up with Pierre and family. It was Pierre's 40th, so we had a bit of a party that night, as you can see. So we had a couple of days here, meeting up with friends and family. Then onwards, Ed, Pierre and Keijo in their rather natty headgear, anti-mosquito nets on them as well. 24-hour operation of forestry there. Looks like a bit of adjustment to luggage. High coast region of Sweden, lakes and forests pretty much really. And crossing the Arctic Circle, that was a bit of a highlight. And on to the midnight sun. We was up there sort of a couple of days after Midsummer's Day. Nice wooded site near Kiruna, near the Ice Hotel actually. Then further northwards, miles and miles, lovely old buildings, gravel roads. They were quite interesting on our road bikes, but coped adequately. Fortunately, no mishaps. Looks like a Finnish school bus there, towed behind snow scooters. Camping at Outer in Norway, made this our base before heading north. Barents Sea, up at Northcape itself. And at the final destination, Ed under the iconic globe on the edge of the cliff there. Real sense of achievement landing here. Enjoyed the moment with all the cruise ship passengers and recreational vehicles there, which was quite funny really. But here we are, there's Pierre, Keijo and myself under the globe again. Then back to Outer camping, where we left all our camping gear. Some Sami teepees or lavus. They had a giant one there which was made into a pub with an open fire and traditional Sami singing. That was good. Fish stock drying racks on the edge of the fjord there. The Harley all fully loaded up. No aluminium luggage there. And then out onto the Lofoten Islands. Here the weather turned a bit nasty. Wind and rain and fog. But absolutely stunningly beautiful. A lot of fishing villages. These huge arched bridges to allow shipping to pass underneath. And home for the night in the village of Åre. Then following morning back to the mainland, a short ferry crossing. Ed on the Harley, we swapped bikes just to try them out. Had to get petrol wherever you could there really. Petrol stations were a bit few and far between. Another midnight celebration. The midnight sun there. Bit of alcohol. It wasn't for the goldwing. And Gilderton. I only know that because it's written on the top of the post. A bit of problems with Keijo's bike here. We had a bit of a top-end lubrication failure, which proved a bit terminal north of Trondheim somewhere. We had to leave the bike there and get it transported back. The Swedish lads went back to Sweden on the bike the following morning, and Ed and I carried on south back towards Bergen. Heading south, we had some perfect conditions with near empty roads. Here's Ed enjoying a cup of tea made on his trusty Trangia. Then on towards Niggerdsbreen Glacier. That was quite spectacular. The temperature chill off the ice and the water was quite incredible. Then down towards Lom and the Stave Church there. That's a 1,000-year-old timber church. Here we are up on top of the Jotunheimen region, sort of high plateau area. More glaciers. I think this was the Niggerdsbreen or the Svartisen or Black Ice Glacier. Then back towards Bergen, where we waited for the ferry and our trip back to the UK. Sadly, this was one of the last ferry crossings back from Bergen to Newcastle, as Fjordline stopped operating within a couple of years and have failed to reinstate that crossing. So fast forward 20 years, and the plan this year is to recreate that trip in the summer of 2023. So part 2 coming soon, the plan.